Okay, so what I'm doing here is a general maintenance on my boat over here to make sure that everything's working in top shape. And as you can see, I power washed it. I always power wash my boat. It works great. I had this boat for around 2 years already, and see, some of the adhesions already coming off, but that can quickly be fixed. That's not a problem. Just there's a lot of gunk that's underneath there. But I power washed it, and you use a delicate tip, and it does fine. You know, a lot of dirt gets collected in here on the rails, and the power washer just does it all in one shot. So the first thing I want to do before I wrap everything up is just to make sure that these bolts over here are nice and tight, because some of them do get loose. See down right there? That one's loose. Look at that. A few of them are loose, especially the ones that have a lot of vibration to it from the landing gear. And my GoPro mount that's over here, I just actually I tightened this up a while ago because it was getting really loose. So almost tightening everything over here. That one's really loose. And look at that one. Dang. And you also want to make sure that the lock latches for your drive is nice and tight. I never had an issue with these at all, but always be sure. Now the BooneDOX right here, I want to make sure that this is really tight on both sides. Obviously, in the past, I actually like to have this a little loose, because when you want to pull out these legs, I find it's a lot easier when you had a little play in it. But I think that's actually bad advice for me to give, because when there's too much vibration, you have chances of losing your legs on transportation. Keep them tight. And we'll make sure I get these tighter over here. Okay, so this shouldn't have so much play over here if you tighten it up right correctly. You also want to check that the spacer bar here will not get loose. There's a bolt here underneath, a set screw. Now if you're running a motor mount, double check your mounts too. Make sure that they're all nice and tight. Now if you have a handle over here, if you have a lot of play, you're gonna have to pull this out over here, and I'll go ahead and do that. See, mine has a little bit of play. It's not so much. I mean, this doesn't bother me. For a lot of people that do have plays on there, it does bother them. So I'll go ahead and show you how to get that tightened up. And we might as well just go ahead and retune your steering. I'm using a BooneDOX over here with a new design handle, and I'm just gonna go ahead and loosen these up over here, and we'll inspect the lines to ensure the cables are still in good shape, because natives are notorious to have frayed lines. We'll pull out the steering over here. I'm gonna pull out just a little bit. As you get to the bottom over here, the lines will jump off. Now you gotta remember that when you put see, when I'm taking it off, these lines crisscross right here. My camera. I'm making a DIY video. See, you just ruined me. Okay, see, you can see these lines over here. They're nice and crisscrossed, because when I put it back, these lines sit on the outside. Really hard to show you how it's done. But this bolt right here is what you want to go ahead and tighten up.
Hey, stop right here, because part of my video got cut off over here. See this nut right here? This nut right here is the reason why the handle is loose. What I did is took out the nut, cleaned it up, applied some grease between the washers and the base plate, and I put some fresh Loctite on there. I tightened it up to a good snug fit, and then I backed it off just a little bit, so that way it could still turn the handle and it has no more slop in it.
I don't have much light over here, so hopefully you can see it. Okay, these lines crisscross. Okay, you see that? And we're gonna put them on the outside and sit like so. That way you can see the lines. They fall on the outside of the wheel. Okay, you see how the lines are out sitting on the outside now? Now you can put a little tension over here and just set it down, and it should stay there. Do soft tightening on both sides. Tighten it just yet. What I'm gonna do is we're gonna put this handle dead center over here, okay? And we'll make sure that my BooneDOX over here, there is dead center. Part of tuning this, we're gonna take out this BooneDOX, remove this screw over here. This is already loosened up over here. Oh, there we go. Okay. Now we can go ahead and take out the BooneDOX in the bottom. Look, there's a lot of gunk on this. I want to go ahead and clean that off, because if you don't clean it off and leave that gunk in there, it's gonna feel like it's really crunchy when you turn and steer. Clean off everything. Now, how often should you do this? I don't do it too often, but every time I feel like it's really crunchy and really gritty from steering, I'll go ahead and do this. As you can see right here, look at that. It's grimy, isn't it? Now, if you have extra gaskets, by all means replace these, but I don't. As you can see, I use 2 gaskets. That's why it's really thick like that. Using 2 gives it a really good seal. You can get away with 1, but I find it for myself to use 2. You get a way better seal and prevent water coming up. For me, I put a little grease on there to lubricate these gaskets. I don't know if some people do this. This is just what I do. There's no issues of water getting in, and for me, it just feels a lot more slick. Start turning my rudder. So this is just my own personal pro tip. Not everybody does this. Inside's all clean, and let's go ahead and put this back in. Okay, we'll put this cap right back in, and it should go in like a jigsaw. I'm gonna put a little Loctite. All I have is red right now, so I'm just gonna put a little dab. Nothing too crazy, because we don't want that thing to completely lock up, but just a little dab like that is just fine. If you don't have Loctite, some silicone will work, but you have to use some type of locker. Reason being is because this thing shakes, and if this thing starts shaking, this thing starts getting loose, and next thing you know, the screw comes off and you lost the rudder and you can't steer no more. And especially when you're driving, this thing, it vibrates like crazy. So here goes another tip. Right when you feel it's really tight, back it off just a little bit. Okay, now that's a little bit too tight. Back it off a little bit more. Okay, that's good. So now let's tune it. The next level design handle is dead center. The rudder is dead center, and we'll just tighten these up right here. Normally I'll put duct tape to hold it in place, but I haven't got any right now. Now when you put these the cables back in, you want to put it on the outside of these screws right here, like so. Put it down the middle, and then bring it back around. And you don't want it too tight. You want to have a little play. Trust me on this. Don't put it too tight, or it's going to make it way too hard for you to start steering. You just want to have a little slack where you can press down on it. You don't want it too tight, okay? Now just start tightening it down. All right, I didn't realize the battery died, so let's swap it out. But the extra tag ends, I just tied it into a bow knot and make sure everything's all tied down. All right, so tying to both sides. Tied up the tag ends in a bow knot, because you want to be able to untie it if you need to do the same tuning again. And do a test run. Now you can feel it's really slick. he did his job, and there's not much play on it anymore. Let's go ahead and tighten these up over here. Now another thing you want to check is the seals on your rudder covers over here. Get this weather stripping over here. I have an extra roll over here because I do plan on replacing my weather stripping on my front hatch. But these things right here, they're only like $4, $4 or $5, and you can get them at Walmart or Home Depot. It's weather stripping. I got the extra large fat ones, and they work great. I might as well just go ahead and just rip this out and just install a new fresh seal. Now I'm taking out this old seal because if you take a look at it, it's starting to crack up a little bit. It's like really dried out, so might as well just replace it, and that's what I'm doing right now. All right, so before I clean up everything over here, and before I put the seal on, I put these pads right here on the very edge. As you can see, I cut it down where it's leveled with the rim over here. And I did this because I'm gonna put the seal all the way from the edge over here and go all the way around, go to the other edge over here. The stock one has it over here, but I find that if you do it all the way to the edge over here, you'll have a better seal and prevent any cavitation water to seep right through it. Now when you put the seal in, don't stretch it, lay it down flat. And I cleaned it off with rubbing alcohol. So make sure that it's cleaned off completely. Don't stretch it out. Just lay it down flat. Stretch out the rudder seal while you apply it. It's just gonna make the seal thinner. They'll have a lot of tension on it where the weather strip will want to go ahead and pull off from the adhesive. There you have it. Nice brand new seal.
If you need to change the front hatch seal, the process is the same. I didn't include into this video because mine didn't need changing at all.
As far as my drive, this is going to be another video. I already have a video of the drive being maintenance by Bam Miller, and I'll go ahead and link it to my video description in the bottom. But the video is very informative, and I know a lot of people that use that video. I also have another recommendation over here. This hatch right here. This hatch is known to leak water. When I first had this boat, I'm not sure what happened at the native factory, but they sealed it, but a lot of the glue wasn't sealing everything. I mean, it had a full contact, so when it had water in the back of the boat, the water would seep all the way through. I removed all of this. Take it out. You see how easy it is for me to pull this out? I'll show you what I did. I removed this ring, disassembled everything, okay? Took out everything, pulled off the old glue, and then put a new marine silicone all the way around it, and I used a generous amount. So you can see it's really a sloppy job, but I did that intentionally because when I squeezed this all down, I can see that the silicone was seeping outside, and that gave me a lot of confidence that there was going to be a good seal all the way around. Now I know for some of you guys in some of the forums saying that this lid right here is super hard to take out, and I agree. I mean, I had to get a hammer and mallet and to hammer it down in order to twist it. Now it's really easy to turn now, because if you take a look at the inside right here, I want to go ahead and clean this up. See how dirty that thing is? There's a rubber ring in here. You can't really see it. There's a rubber ring around here. Take a little grease and just put it around the ring. That way you have some good lubrication on that ring. The reason why it's hard to take it out is because that ring gets dried up. And also there's little notches here on the side where your hatch locks in. I'll put a little grease on those latches and just put the lid back in. All right. See? It's real easy to take it on and off now. And you can feel it click in a lot easier now. Okay? Put these lug nuts back in here on both sides. Okay, you saw me clean up this whole tray over here. It got really grimy, especially inside here. So I use a power washer to spray it down, and it's nice and shiny now. Now, for some of you folks, I know you guys think it's really hard to install these seats, but really, you'll see these slots over here. These slots are for you to help you visualize. And you see the lug nut over there now? And what you want to do is do this slot, and you can start to tighten it in there. There really ain't nothing to it. You just got to use the slot so you can see it. Slide that lug nut down the rail. And you can see your seat screw fall right down on top of it. You can take a look at it. Right there, right down the middle. Nice and tight. Man, I apologize. I don't know what my tripod is, and this video is really shaky. But I gotta move on. And audio is just like, oh, so many cars out here, isn't it? I do this clean type of wash maybe around once or twice a year, and you gotta wash it. You don't think it smells like ass. Get it a power washer, just power wash it down, and it works amazing. This time I just put a little detergent and just scrubbed it down, and it is great. Lined up over there, lock it down on both sides. Now for those that have transducers set up over here, double check to see if it's loose, and if you're using duct seal, you can actually pull this off and put more duct seal in here. Mine's working. This is the original duct seal used on the original install. I want to check this right here to make sure that the duct seal is good. Now the duct seal is still gummy. It has a good adhesion over there. And you want to check in the inside, see how it is. And that duct seal is nice and sealed tight. Nothing's getting through that thing. Now to apply this cap. Okay. I think, see, it's raising up just a little bit because the new seal. But you want that, right? You wonder what this is right here? These are my little latches that I use to take my cover on and off a lot with ease. You can see it. And basically it's just a old pen tube. I cut it out and I slipped it on, and I used duct tape to make these little handles over here. That way when you pull it in and out, it's a lot easier. Because sometimes when your hands are wet or even cold, getting in here and putting your fingers right here to pull it out, it's annoying. This just makes it a lot more easier. Just a little mod that I did. Okay, so just doing a final wipe down because you still got a little grime in here. Everything's all tight. Nothing's loose. Checked all the seals. Steering is fine-tuned. BooneDOX is nice and tight. Motor mount nice and tight. The last thing I'm going to do is check the wiring. There's nothing wrong with my wiring. It's been solid. If there was something wrong with wiring, I would know immediately, and I would have to, redo it. But my wiring has been solid from the day one install. But my boat, it's nice and clean. Smells like laundry detergent because I use that to clean off the seat over here. My boat don't smell like ass anymore. But it's looking good, isn't it? Take care of your boat. Other than the drive, not maintenance, everything is working in top shape, and it shouldn't have any issues. And if you do this, with your boat, at least before the start of your tournament season, please do it, because you don't want any mechanical failures on your boat. and everybody clowning your ass because you're tapping out. This is what I do to make sure everything works fine. What the hell? Bird shit on this already? Alright, so thank you for watching my video. This is me maintaining my boat, going to the new season, and I'm logging out.